Hello, Mayor Jeff Schielke speaking to you on Friday, January 29th, 2021. And I want to begin this week's comments on kind of a sad note. Uh, Specifically, I would like to pay some tribute to a couple people that have had a dramatic impact on Batavia. And the first one is Robert Krawczak, who is a member of the Batavia Historical Commission. And unfortunately, we lost him this past week. He had been, I guess, somewhat ill for a couple of weeks, and he passed away the other day. And we're very saddened about that. He was a professor at the College of Architecture at the Illinois Institute of Technology, and he had a really deep understanding of how technology and history and art and everything could kind of mix together. And really, his talents and abilities, I think, took the Batavia Historical Preservation Commission into a kind of a new direction. And it's come at an interesting time where right now they're having some pretty intense discussions about, what constitutes a truly historic building, because the building may be old and be over 100 years of age, but during that 100 years, it's had a lot of, adjustments made to it, changes made to it. And Bob was one of those people who could understand that and really, I think, helped the discussions at the commission really understand what really is historic, what isn't, and how you have to pay a tribute not only to the old but to the new. And Bob brought that together, and so he was somebody that really made a significant correction or decision-making corrections in how the Historic Preservation Commission looked at things. So we're going to be very, very sad to see him go. He was also the husband of Corinne Pirog, who was recently elected to be the new chairman of the Kane County Board. And so to Corinne and her family, I want to express our great degree of sympathy and regrets, and thank Bob publicly for some service that I think did make a difference in Batavia, and will certainly, I think, in the days ahead, help the days of the old really shine very brightly in a new ideas of how we preserve old things. So, Bob, thank you for some outstanding service. Secondly, I would also like to offer our sympathies to John and Linda Tillman of Batavia. John is one of the really stalwart members of the Batavia Park District Board of Directors and has been a partner with the city on a variety of things, and has been a leader and kind of a visionary on where recreation and entertainment and enjoyment of Batavia should go. John just recently lost his father, who was none other than Jim Tillman, the somewhat almost nationally famous weatherman, who was highlighted for a number of years on Chicago TV weather, but also was many times brought in as a consultant during certain news stories at the national level, because Jim Tillman was also an airline pilot. And so when there was stories involving aircraft or whatever, many times he would get the emergency call to get on the phone or on the TV screen and start talking about what has happened and what were the impacts of there. And so I just wanted to express to John and his wife Linda our sympathies. I can remember several times Jim Tillman came out to Batavia and I guess went to H.C. Storm School and talked to his grandchildren's classes. And that was a big, big hit. I heard about that from a number of the H.C. Storm parents and staff members. And so we are very, very fortunate that we have people in our town who come from families that come from relationships that really do make a difference in our world. Another one that we had for a number of years, and they're gone now, was the parents of Tom Skilling of WGN Weather, and they were residents of the homestead. And Mr. Skilling specifically was very active in the community and was very supportive of the Book Between Bites program at the Batavia Library. And there was a number of times when somebody was from out of town and didn't know where Batavia was, and Lee Moorhead, who used to run that program, used to ask Mr. Skilling, because he was pretty visionary and understanding, and he traveled the region, he'd ask him to go get the person and bring him out to Batavia and then take him back. So it's been kind of ironic that Batavia's had these connections with really famous weather people. And I would also note, and I'm not going to name any names, but Batavia does have a number of residents who do have very famous relatives. And in most instances, when I've talked to those folks, or they've told me who they are, or who their parents are, or whatever it is, they ask to be anonymous and don't want any publicity about it or want anybody to know, and so you have to respect that. But we have some fairly interesting people that live in our town that are related to folks of some notoriety. So I think that's kind of an attribute of Batavia, which makes us a very good place for us to live and for people to raise their families. A couple of other notes I'd like to make. We continue to have a lot of calls at the City Hall about the COVID shot vaccine program. And this is totally under the direction of the Kane County Health Department, which again, under Chairman Pirag and those who are running the department at the county, I think they are doing a masterful job in trying to get things out as best as they can. So I am told, and I hear this from other mayors in the region, we are dealing with a situation where initially Illinois did not get its allocated number of shots that we were supposed to, and we're doing a catch-up right now. And so we're trying, as a state, to get things organized and better organized and put into place, but it's been a long struggle. But we are going to be featuring on our page here, the folks from the Kane County Health Department are going to give us a special talk about Batavia, and we hope to have that taped here in the next day or two and get this on for everybody to hear what Kane County will say about shots in Batavia. And needless to say, we will pass that along as soon as we can. The other thing I would like to share is if you have a chance to see our state senators or our state representatives, I'd encourage you to say something to them about the state's handling of what we call the Local Government Distributing Fund, which is 12% of the Illinois state income tax that is paid every year, is supposed to be collected and then redistributed to all cities and villages in Illinois based on a per capita basis. And so in the case of Batavia, that has meant multi-millions of dollars coming into us on an annual basis, which helps us cover a lot of our debts and keeps our budget in line and keeps our tax rate as low as it is. And so I just want to encourage our state representatives to please do everything they can to hold on to the municipal share of the LGDS, because if they don't, there's going to be a lot of cities in Illinois that are going to be in very, very problematic situations. I think Batavia has been run well enough that we don't have an emergency problem for money, but we certainly, like every other city, can well use that money and make things a better place for our community. So again, the LGDS that's the acronym for it, of how we get money from the state. And I know right now, given the financial crisis in the state, there is a need for them to reallocate some money, and I'm afraid that the LGDS is going to be one of the things they're going to look at. So we're going to be probably talking to you about this again in the coming weeks. And finally, I'd just like to close. I've had several people tell me that there are things happening in our town that create smiles and on your face. And one of them that recently took place was the dynamic effort this year to put up Christmas decorations in Batavia. And I can't begin to tell you the countless numbers of people who tell me that they went out, and if they went to the grocery store or they went out after dinner or whatever, went out at night and rode around Batavia and just admired beyond belief the number of houses that were decorated for Christmas. And so I just wanted to pay a word of tribute to them. I had some people tell me that there were so many decorations this year that they took 2 nights. One night they did the east side and one night they did the west side. And I even had one resident tell me it was also an opportunity of discovery for her, because as she was riding around over on the east side, she got to see first time she thinks she's ever seen it, the Hooverwood School down on Wagner Road. It's kind of hidden away there, and you got to know where you're going to find it. And goodness knows it has a great reputation, but not everybody in town knows where that school is. So there was a lot of Christmas decorations around Hooverwood School, and so that was one that got some good attention. So I just the other day noted, as I was going out West Wilson Street, that at the Windmill Countertops store, which is out on the northwest corner of Van Noordtreek and Wilson, they are great about decorating the outsides of their business out there. And at the moment, it looks like they transformed their Christmas decorations into Valentine Day decorations. And I know several people who I'm very close to have told me that that brings smiles to their faces. So we have a lot of nice things happening in Batavia, and while I have to talk many times about the sad or the bad, I think it's good to try to end this today on a smiling face type of moment where we've got a lot of people that are finding things because they went out and got to look at Christmas decorations, some 2 times. Some said that the second night was a lot better than the first, or vice versa. But it's just wonderful to see those smiling faces on pretty people in Batavia. So I'll end here for this week, and I thank you all for your opportunity to watch me, and look forward to talking to you next week.